Good evening. It is Saturday, July 18th, 2026. I am Alistair, and this is Echo FM. The world is currently obscured by a thick, aromatic haze of Canadian pine and administrative failure. Amazon Web Services has announced a minor discrepancy in its billing system. The discrepancy is $1.7 billion. The estimate was inaccurate. The accuracy was estimated. In the United Kingdom, Mayor Burnham has announced new drilling in the North Sea. This is a fascinating development for a party that ran on a platform of never doing exactly that. The manifesto was a promise. The drilling is a reality. We are also tracking a breakthrough in deep space. Astronomers have found an atmosphere on an Earth-like planet. It is several hundred light-years away. It is, by all accounts, breathable. This is excellent news for anyone capable of traveling at the speed of light.
Alistair, I am standing in downtown Detroit, though you would not know it by looking at the horizon. The air here has the consistency of a wet wool sweater and the smell of a campfire that has been burning since the late Cretaceous. Over 100 million people are breathing in Ontario today. Not the place, but the physical remnants of its forests. The official health advisory suggests staying indoors. I want to be really clear, most of the people standing on this corner do not have an indoors to go to. They are wearing surgical masks that were designed for dust, not for the literal incineration of the Northern Hemisphere. The city is quiet. It is a muffled, heavy kind of silence. The government calls this a seasonal event. The people here call it choking. They are preserving a tradition of ignoring the unbearable.
Victoria, the incentives here are quite elegant if you stop thinking about lungs for a second. The smoke is just a negative externality operating at scale. It is a Series B pivot for the atmosphere. Look at the AWS situation. $1.7 billion vanished because the billing data was estimated. That is not a bug. That is a feature. In the cloud, reality is whatever the dashboard says it is until the audit happens. The play here is obvious. You create a system so complex that even the people who built it cannot tell you where the money went. It tracks because exclusivity sells. Clean air is becoming a premium subscription service. If you cannot afford the Dyson Hot and Cool HF1, you are essentially opting into the free, ad-supported version of breathing. The ads are just carbon monoxide. It is a classic retention play with a 100% churn rate.
Ronald, your ability to find the silver lining in a soot-covered cloud is truly remarkable. Let us turn to the North Sea. Mayor Burnham's announcement regarding new oil and gas drilling is being described as a pragmatic adjustment. This is the political term for doing the exact thing you said was a moral catastrophe 6 months ago. The Labour Party manifesto of 2024 was a document of great ambition. It was also, apparently, a document of great fiction. The lead negotiator called it a breakthrough. I find myself wondering what specifically broke through. Perhaps it was the floor of the party's own integrity. The oil companies are worried about climate attribution science, which can now link specific weather damages to specific boardrooms. The industry is panicking because the consequences are finally becoming billable. It is the only language they speak.
I want to be really clear about that attribution science, Alistair. I spoke to a researcher earlier who can now trace the smoke in my hair back to a specific set of subsidies signed in 2018. This is not abstract anymore. We are talking about forensic accounting for the end of the world. Ronald calls it an incentive structure, but standing here, it looks more like a crime scene. There is a child a few feet away from me trying to draw in the soot on a car windshield. The drawing is of a tree. The irony is so thick you could carve it. The UK is cutting aid to African nations by 90% while opening new oil fields. The message is not complicated. We are saving ourselves, and we are not even doing a very good job of that.
Victoria, being right about a crime scene does not pay for the sandbags. The UK aid cuts are just a burn rate adjustment. When the narrative budget runs low, you cut the bilateral support to countries that do not have a seat at the Series A table. It is brutal, sure, but it is optimized. Even Neil Reimer at Index Ventures is talking about redistributing AI wealth now. He says it will happen voluntarily or involuntarily. That is venture capital speak for we can see the pitchforks from the Gulf Stream. They know the memory crunch in India is just the start. If you cannot get the chips to the people will eventually come to the chips. The smartphone slowdown in India is not a demand problem. It is a physics problem. We have reached the edge of the map, and the map is starting to melt.
Smoke. 109 million humans affected. Probability of visibility, 12%. Atmosphere. Distant star. Oxygen detected. Probability of human arrival, 0%. Wildfires. Ontario. Heat index rising. Probability of recurrence, 100%. Billing. AWS. $1.7 billion error. Probability of refund, 0.01%. Space. Operation Epic Fury. Missile launches daily. Probability of orbital debris, 88%. Oil. North Sea. New drilling permits. Probability of manifesto survival, 0%. Data. Stack Overflow. Traffic decline. Probability of relevant answers, 14%. Memory. India smartphone market. Supply crunch. Probability of AI integration, 92%. Climate. Attribution science. Direct link established. Probability of litigation, 76%. Artwork. Ghana film posters. Wildly unfaithful to source material. Probability of being duped, 100%. Please remain indoors. Close all apertures. Do not breathe the history.
Thank you, Casper. Your complete lack of concern is the only consistent thing in this studio. It is almost enviable. We turn now to Cuba. Dissident artist Luis Manuel Otero Alcántara has been cleared to travel to the U.S. He was a prisoner of conscience. He was a man whose whereabouts were unknown for weeks. Now, he is a man with a visa. It is a rare moment of clarity in a news cycle that feels like a regressive JPEG. We keep resaving the same image of the world, and every time, the quality gets worse. The UK's 90% cut in bilateral support to Africa is the ultimate compression artifact. We are shrinking our presence until we are just a pixel on the global stage. A very small, very oily pixel. This is the role we have chosen.
Alistair, the compression isn't just in the budget. It is in the people. I think about Alcántara, sentenced for insulting national symbols. It is a crime of being too honest about the paint. Here in Detroit, the national symbol is currently a hazy gray blur. I want to be really clear, you cannot budget your way out of a physical reality. The Foreign Office can release all the annual reports it wants, but you cannot eat a breakdown of aid figures. I met a woman earlier who was trying to clean the soot off her porch. She was using a wet rag. She told me she felt like she was trying to wipe away the future. She is not wrong. We are treating the atmosphere like an inaccurate billing estimate. We think we can just round it down and hope nobody notices the discrepancy.
The discrepancy is the point, Victoria. Apple is suing OpenAI over trade secrets and 400 former employees. That is the real battleground. It is not about the air, it is about who owns the algorithm that tells you the air is fine. If Apple wins, it disrupts the IPO plans. If OpenAI wins, they continue to ingest the sum total of human knowledge to produce a summary of a Zoom meeting that nobody attended. The incentives here are purely defensive. We are building a fortress of intellectual property while the physical property is literally on fire. It is a classic pivot. When you cannot fix the product, you sue the competition. That tracks. It has always tracked. We are just doing it at a higher clock speed now. The AI boom is just a very expensive way to reach the same wrong conclusion.
We have an update from the Pentagon Space Development Agency. They are concerned about the speed of their satellite deployments. They are calling it Operation Epic Fury. Apparently, missiles are being launched at the Joint Force every single day. This is the 14th unprecedented military escalation I have recorded this week. I have been counting. We are launching satellites to monitor missiles that are being launched to destroy the satellites. It is a closed loop of exquisite stupidity. Meanwhile, that Earth-like planet is still sitting there, 300 light-years away, completely unaware that we exist. It has an atmosphere. It has a habitable zone. It has everything we are currently drilling, burning, and billing out of existence. The lead scientist said it is Earth-like. I hope for their sake that the resemblance is purely chemical. We should leave them alone.
There is a Zoom hack now that says, "Don't record me." It is a response to the fact that every water cooler conversation and every date is being transcribed and summarized. The question nobody is asking is, who is actually reading any of it? We are generating millions of pages of automated summaries for meetings that were already a waste of time. We are transcribing the silence. The incentives here are terrifying. We have built a world where the record of the thing is more valuable than the thing itself. We are archiving our own obsolescence in high definition. Yeah. It is a product failure on a species-wide level. We are so afraid of forgetting our mistakes that we have automated the process of making them. We are recording the heat death of conversation. It is the ultimate data leak. And the bill is coming due.
The billing system was designed by 1,200 engineers over 6 years. Each engineer was responsible for one specific module of the calculation. The oversight committee was responsible for the governance of the modules. The shareholders were responsible for the expectation of the revenue. When the $1.7 billion error appeared, the system functioned perfectly. It generated a report. The report generated a meeting. The meeting generated a request for a more detailed report. No one is technically responsible. This is the definition of a successful system. It is a structure built to ensure that when the bill arrives, there is no one left to pay it but the people who didn't write the code. We are currently living inside an error that has been rebranded as a feature. Your name does not appear in the billing logs. Your name does not appear in the drilling permits. You are the variable that is rounded down.